The Times, Nick. What have we got? More Zahawi. What else?
Yeah, well, we've got Met risks hiring rogue officers in online tests, which is an absolute shocker. As you'll know, the police has been having a few shockers recently with some of the people it hired who might be, for example, mass rapists. Well, this is another cost of lockdown because during the pandemic, they thought, we'll just do online interviews. How about that? Other police forces have brought proper interviews back, but the Met hasn't. So they're just still doing these online interviews. Bit of a problem when it's the police. And it says here, well, they've approached them and it says it's reintroducing an interview element. What element? What is the element? They tell you their name. I mean, element, just do interviews.
Not enough.
So, yeah, it's infuriating.
I do remember saying, just to be sort of contrarian about it briefly, or the devil's advocate, the interview process, the traditional interview process, is not always the best way of getting the best candidates. It might well depend on whether you're looking for character or whether you're looking for competence. Those are slightly different issues. But it has been demonstrated that if you actually hire based on CVs, as long as they can be checked, fact-checked, as long as people aren't just getting away with blatant lies, you tend to get better outcomes than you do. A lot of people who think they're very good at hiring really tend to have a lot of biases that aren't corrected in a face-to-face interview.
I tend to hire just based on looks.
Yeah, beard you look for.
But don't you
looks, yes, beard, no hair.
Maybe you're right, but don't you think with some of the people they've been hiring, gut instinct could have been quite useful? Like if I was confronted with an obvious wrong end, do you know what I mean?
I do think that with the police force, you are probably going to get the same sort of wrong elements that you've always got in the police force that are indeed probably interviewing the new recruits to some extent. Also, but you might not get the new kind of wrong ones. I don't know.
Yeah, well, ask what their nickname is. If your nickname is Big B God
Big Fur
or whatever, is that there might be giveaways there.
Psycho,
And what's this thing about forget Fido, man's best friend?
Well, this is a very important story, Sam. This is how man's best friend can actually be a pig, not the dog, as was traditionally thought. So pigs show just as much affection for their owners, but the problem is communication. They can't communicate that they want the person to give them the food. They stubbornly try and get the food. Pig-headed, basically. Right. They stubbornly try and press on with solving the problem themselves, whereas if they just sort of appeal to human sort of altruistic need to help or to feel important, they could somehow hook us in and be our best friend.
I seem to remember we covered a story about a year ago about how dogs have evolved the ability to do that sort of Pixar thing with their eyebrows and look longingly and meltingly into our eyes, whereas pigs, of course, have never had that opportunity. But famously, it is probably quoted in here, Churchill was fond of pigs, wasn't he? Regarded them as...
I can give you the quote if you want.
Is it in there?
Yeah, he says that dogs look up to you, cats look down on you. Give me a pig, he looks you in the eye and treats you as an equal.
Exactly, and provides you with breakfast. Here it is, the perfect animal.
They left that out, perhaps due to...
They are big and heavy, aren't they? I know there was a little bit of a trend a few years ago for people getting micro pigs or Vietnamese pot-bellied pigs and so on, were thought to be potential pets. People, even the small ones, get to be pretty hefty. There was one that used to get walked around Hove.
Oh, really?
On a lead, yeah.
So they're micro, but it's all relative, is what you're saying.
Do you know their fate?
Haven't seen him lately.